Christine Coletta from Okanagan Crush Pad Winery in Summerland, British Columbia.
Chris, so when you and Steve first had the idea for Okanagan Crush Pad, what was the concept and how was this idea that you had by allowing other people to come and make wine at your facility?
Well, how it started is that Haywire, which was our first brand, was a virtual wine. And we made it in other people's cellars. And we were sort of tucked away in the back and a bit of an afterthought. And we realized with that experience that there was room to do something on a professional level to help other people get into the business on solid footing.
But building your own facility, that's a big investment.
It was really a big investment, and we actually thought we were going to build, originally we thought we'll build a tiny little batch, you know, the kind of thing that you'd come across in New Zealand. And then one thing led to another, and we ended up with an 8,000 square foot facility. The original plan was for 25,000 cases. Well, last year we made 45,000 cases. So we are really wedged into our space. Fortunately, it's very, very flexible. Everything is on wheels and it moves around. So when we need more tanks in, they come in. When we don't need them, they roll out, barrels come in.
How has Haywire evolved since the beginning? Because there's been a lot of changes.
Yeah, I mean, Haywire really started out as a small offering from our one vineyard, SWITCHBACK. And then when we got the Seacrest Mountain Vineyard, which we have a long-term lease on, it just opened the door for us to be making more varietals and different offerings. And I think what we tried to do originally with Haywire was be a little bit of everything to everyone. And we've kind of grown up and found our way in the marketplace. And for us now, it's all about organic farming. And we're in the final stages of getting the winery certified organic as well. And we're working really hard on what I like to call minimal intervention wines. I know that the term natural has its haters and its lovers, and what we're trying to do is make wines that are very expressive of the region that we come from without manipulating them.
Part of expressing the region is understanding the soils, and you brought in Pedro Parra as a consultant, and tell us the experience with him and how he's changed maybe your philosophy or the way you might have approached things.
Right. Well, it started actually with Alberto Antonini, who's our consulting winemaker from Tuscany. He and Pedro are a dynamic duo, and they work around the world together. Alberto came and he looked at our one vineyard, and he basically said, well, you've screwed this whole thing up. And that was really comforting after spending all those months planting it ourselves and raising it, those tiny little plants. And he said, no, let's bring Pedro in and let's fix this. So we basically fixed SWITCHBACK from the ground up. We didn't replant. And Pedro came with a very intricate design and program for us, which we adhered to. And then along the way, we understood that we needed to start from a clean slate. And his idea of a clean slate is to have raw land that's never been farmed before, so there's no herbicides and pesticides on it. It doesn't have history. So we actually found a 320-acre parcel in the Garnet Valley, and the low end of the vineyard is 600 meters above sea level, and the high end is 680. So it's a very unique, pioneering spot. It's the highest altitude vineyard in the Okanagan, and probably in Canada. And so we had a very, very complicated design plan for that. And Pedro really led us to that program.
Tell us about the narrative program.
The narrative program is a running mate for Haywire, and essentially in the narrative lineup we have wines that we source from contract growers. Some of those wines are organic, from organic grapes, others aren't. But we're basically looking through the valley every year to see what we can find and buying the best lots that we can. So one year we may make a Syrah, and then the next year we'll make a Cab Franc, whatever really comes across our plate. So it's a bit of an evolving portfolio, but it's really great because it's an area where we can experiment and change.
So where do you see the next step in terms of, we've seen people understanding what grapes to grow in what sites.
Yes.
We've seen viticulture changing to to really express the site in the bottle.
Right.
What's the next step for what's happening for the BC wine industry?
Well, there's going to be more of that, but I see also there's more and more people looking for organic grapes and organic certification. Mission Hill Wineries, the Von Mandel family, they announced that they're going to convert 1,200 acres in the Okanagan to organic, and that is like music to my ears. So people like Summerhill, ourselves, Kalala, Covert Farm, there's a group of us that have really been driving organic, and I must say I'm late to the party. There's people that have been doing it for a long time, and it's just really great to see one of the big players taking that move. So I really think you're going to see more and more. I would like to see half of the vineyards in the Okanagan certified organic, and I think we can do that because of our climate, and we have very few disease pressures and very few pest pressures, so I think we can actually achieve that.
So get back on your feet, running, then black out. So you're dwelling on your wrongs, already forgiven. Is there a point in caring?